Welcome to the Hangry Games Arena, where Kelly Brewster, the author of What's Eating You and host of the Hangry Games, is shaking up the weight loss world. She's providing you with tons of resources and helpful tips to obtain your long-term wellness and weight loss goals once and for all. The Hangry Games is recorded and produced at Open Space Studios.
Hangry Game Nation, what is up? I am so glad to be back in the arena, shaking trees, motivating minds, and having a great time in the process with you guys. I pray that you are having an awesome, rocking week so far. I felt like I was pretty productive. I hope that you were, and you're seeing some progress. Remember, a big W and a little w are still W's. So a win is a win, whether it's small or big. So make sure that you give yourself a little pat on the back when you do see a W, okay? So today we're going to do things a little differently. Usually I do a podcast after doing a good bit of research on a topic and typing up content, which is usually about 7 to 8 pages long. So if I do 2 podcasts at every recording, that's like 15 pages of typed notes. And sometimes that can be a little overwhelming, you know. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to shoot a little bit from the hip. I have a topic that I am pretty good versed in, and we're just going to spend a little time talking about it. This is either going to soar like an eagle or flop like a fish, and we'll probably likely figure that out pretty soon out of the gate, right? So join me, won't you? Okay. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk walking and how it can help you with your weight loss journey, but how your definition and my definition and how we execute those things may differ. And that's between the patient and the client, and the provider and the trainer, right? So whether it's a physician or a nurse practitioner or something like that talking to a patient, or it's a trainer talking to their client, we all have different perceptions about what walking does for us, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. We're going to talk about what works, what doesn't work. We're going to talk some facts and myths and just kind of shake it up a little bit, okay? So first and foremost, physical activity is imperative, right? It's imperative for weight control, and it can definitely help with weight loss, but intensity and length, they have a lot to do with how this works for you, okay? So sometimes when I'm doing a patient visit, we always talk about the triad of treatment, and you guys have at this point should be becoming very familiar with this. You know, it's like a triangle, right? The top is the medication, which, you know, it's not something I usually talk about within the podcast unless it's a specific topic on that. But the 3 parts at the bottom that have a lot of brevity with your wellness and weight loss journey are your eating plan, your behavior modifications or changes, and your exercise. And so when you're talking about this in a patient visit, I had several of them this week, really good patient cases this week. They saw some improvement. It's very uplifting when you see somebody come back and they're doing well. It's exciting. But sometimes when I talk about exercising, okay, what are we doing for exercise? First of all, I get a big sigh. Okay, I gotta talk about this. And then they say, well, I'm walking. And I'm like, great. In my mind, I'm like, really? I just walked from the counter over here to talk to you about your visit. Is it walking like that? Or is it walking like somebody's chasing you? Okay, because that's the kind of walking I'm wanting to hear about. Okay, just so you know. But the first thing I tell them when they start talking about walking being, you know, their exercise at the moment, I'm like, look, I have this analogy, right? And walking is like admission into an amusement park. It gets you into the park. I'm into Universal Studios. I'm in the park. I'm on the grounds, but I'm still not on a ride yet. I'm just inside the grounds. That's it. So for me, I think it's a great place to start, but I personally don't ever want you to land there. Let's face it, you're hauling yourself around. That takes energy. Your weight and you're walking around, it takes a certain amount of energy. But if you went from the couch and you've been laying on the couch for like months, maybe even years, and you started becoming physically active and walking, yes, I love that. Start walking by all means. I want you to do that. But at some point, I want to see us go to the next level or to another level. And we're going to talk about how we can make that walking, if that's the only thing that you really feel you can implement into your exercise regimen, how we can help it help you to see some weight loss with that walking. So it's a couple of things that can make a difference for you. Number one, terrain. Now, remember, we're in South Louisiana. What's our terrain, guys? Flat. It's flat. There are very little hills. It's just flat, okay? Where I live, we got a little bit of motion to the ocean, but very little, okay? But terrain can definitely be helpful when you are on a treadmill, walking on a treadmill, and you can have that incline automatically go up and down. The hills and valleys can make a major difference in how walking can affect your wellness and weight loss journey. It really can make a big impact. So terrain does have an effect. Temperature has an effect. When it's really hot or really cold, you're going to burn at a different level or energy level. So certainly if you can, and we all know, we're getting ready to get into the nice season where you go from humid to, there is another form of humid called muggy, and muggy's got a friend called it's just stifling. We're getting ready to get there, and that will help you if you get outside and do your walking outside. It will help you to maybe promote that wellness and weight loss a little bit more. Age has a factor, obviously, because when we're younger, we can go at a higher pace. We burn at a higher rate anyway, so we may see better results with walking than somebody that's older. But from an age perspective, walking may be more tolerable for you, in which case I would rather you be more physically active and walking than, I can't run, so I'm going to do nothing. Does that make sense? Okay. And then, of course, not sex, but you know what I'm talking about, like man versus woman. Basically, men have a tendency, when they do any exercise whatsoever, they're going to just burn at a higher rate. Why? They usually have more muscle mass, okay, than we do, ratio-wise. So what we need to do is make sure that we're getting that weight up. So that's why I tell women all the time, I want you weight lifting or doing weight-bearing exercise, because we need to build your muscle mass up. That's what burns at a resting rate for you. That's what burns when you sleep. So we want to make sure we get that up so that you can kind of burn on that same rate that maybe your counterpart can be doing, right? Another thing that sometimes comes up is, I promise I'm not picking on you guys. I really am not. But these are some things that come up. I think they're really good, valid points, right? I got in my 10,000 steps today. Love it. That's great. But I don't count that, okay? We do not count that as far as exercise. You can get 10,000 steps on that walking in the grocery store looking for stuff, or walking around the house and picking up somebody's clothes, which they should be picking up themselves anyway. You know what I'm saying? I mean, steps can be casual steps, or it could be like, I'm booking it steps, right? I mean, really walking around in a department store or such, you're accumulating those steps, like I said, and you can show it on the iBid or whatever it's called, the iFit or the iWatch or whatever, but you're not really burning calories. So it's kind of a false sense of security there. Ooh, but I'm doing this. That's great. But I don't think you're going to wind up seeing the wellness or weight loss that you're wanting to see, right? Instead of steps, let's think minutes and intensity, right? I would rather you do 15 minutes of really aggressive intervals of walking than to do an hour of, oh dear gosh, you are boring me out of my mind walking, okay? So there's a thing that iFit does, and lots of other people actually use it, and it's called RPEs, which is rate of perceived exertion. So what is your rate of perceived exertion? Perceived meaning this is how I see myself and the degree of exertion that I have doing this activity, right? So zeros, I'm on the couch, I'm not doing anything. 0, 1, I'm really not doing anything. I might cross my legs over a different way, or I might move around on the sofa, but I'm not doing anything. I'm sedentary. We want you to be at about a 4 to 5 on a 10-point scale. So 0 to 1, I'm on the sofa doing nothing. 10, that big, huge dog's chasing me, and I've got a piece of meat tied to the back of my waist, okay? That's a 10. So we want you to be somewhere at a 4 or 5. To reduce, believe it or not, to reduce heart disease, they recommend 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week, okay, to help reduce heart disease. But to drop weight through this activity, that goal is going to have to change. So that, remember, the AHA put that out there for heart health, not for weight loss. Now, the American College of Sports Medicine said 200 to 300 minutes a week for wellness and weight loss management. Big difference there, really big difference. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to start walking to get the weight off. Okay, so if that's your jive, that's your thing, you want to do the walking, I want to help you to achieve the goal. And to be honest with you, I don't want to run anywhere. I'm serious. I hate it. I don't like it. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later, but I really don't like it. So I've talked about this before. I get on the treadmill. I do a lot of interval training on the treadmill that's got incline involved, and I can get on there and I can do 30 minutes, and I've burned 350 calories in that 30-minute time because the intervals have changed, the pace has changed, and the incline has changed. And the combination of those two change my what? Rate of perceived exertion. And that's when I get my heart rate up, I'm burning at a higher rate, and I'm going to wind up burning that sugar that's processing in the body, right? So how do I start walking off weight? Schedule a time. I like to get weightlifting in. I like to get on the treadmill, do my stuff. But I'm just like you. I get home, I want to just rest. I'm tired. I've been doing this all day long. I just want to go home and take a break, right? So the first thing I do right out of the gate is I change into my workout clothes. That's half the battle. Get in the uniform. Make it happen. Get in the uniform. Put the tennis shoes on too. Okay, don't just walk around in your socks. And then you're ready. That's half the battle. Okay. The other thing I do is I have a workout area upstairs on my second story. And what I will do is I'll go turn the light on in that area. Now, I may not go in there for another 2 hours. But the reason why I do that is because if I have lollygagged and procrastinated all night and it's 9 o'clock at night and I walk over to that room to turn that light out, I am acknowledging that I chose not to do that exercise today. And I guilt myself into getting in there and like, okay, Kelly, just do your squats. It's 7 minutes. You're in there, you're out, you're done. I'll do my 100 squats, remember 10, 20, 30, 40. I get that done, and then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll just jump on the treadmill for 20 minutes and then wind up doing 30 minutes on the treadmill. So then I've gotten my workout in. And those are just some ways. You've got to schedule the time. You've got to make it a priority, and you've got to schedule it. It's got to be like, okay, do laundry, check. Workout, check. Get the kids' school stuff ready, check. It's got to be part of your plan, okay? Set goals. Like, there's a lot of really good apps. I think there's a Couch to 5K. That doesn't mean you have to run the 5K. You can walk that 5K really briskly. But set a goal. Say by this time in 3 months, I would like to be walking for 30 minutes with intervals, for 10 minutes of that being intervals or 15 minutes of that being intervals and the other being a steady state. That's a set of goals that you can reach and attain. And then you can also evaluate if you've met the goal, right? So it's a really good place to be. I think that can work. Find a buddy. Yes, I'm kind of on the fence about a buddy because I have a lot of patients that are like, oh, so-and-so's going to start working out with me. There's two things of that sentence that I don't like hearing. Start, which means you haven't started already, and waiting on the buddy. I don't like that either. Now, if that's your jam though, and you have to have a buddy in order to do it, make sure you find one that's reliable, that's going to lift you up when you need it and give you a kick in the butt when you need that too. And make sure that you have common goals in mind. If she's trying to figure out how she's going to get in the Boston Marathon and you're just trying to survive 30 minutes on the treadmill, we might be looking for another buddy, right? So find one if that's something you want to do. Again, it's not my jam. It's just like getting it over. Now, I will say, here's where I do like my buddy. On the pickleball court. I love my pickleball buddies. I love these guys to death. They are so much fun, and we get a major workout every time we go out there. So I love that. That I would say for a buddy. But walking, I'm gonna leave that up to you. So stay positive. Stay positive and keep at it. We've talked about this in nauseam, I'm sure, for you, but you paint the barn door till the paint sticks. I mean, everybody thinks that they're gonna see results in a month of doing an activity. If you drive from here to, I'm in Louisiana and I'm driving to Mississippi, and then Mississippi, I decide to turn around, I'm still in Mississippi. Just because I decided to turn around doesn't mean I'm back here already. And I think a lot of people that make their minds up think as soon as the mind's made up that the body's already done it. No, you just made your mind up. now you got to apply all of that stuff that you changed in your brain. So, you know what? Stay positive though. You know, a win is a win, whether it's a big W or a little W, and I want you to keep that in mind, right? So stay positive and keep at it, and you will eventually see changes, right? So let's talk facts and myths, okay? Fact, walking helps with blood sugar control, and that's absolutely a fact. When you are walking and you're walking with a high intensity, high interval training with some incline and stuff, you are soaking, your muscles are just soaking up all that glucose in your body for the energy source. It needs it to burn for energy, and there's going to be a lesser amount of blood sugar in the bloodstream for the short-term win, and it's going to help to maintain that insulin sensitivity in the long term. So you're getting a win-win there. So yes, that is a fact, and it does work well. A myth, walking can cure depression and anxiety. Walking does amazing things to clear your mind. It can help you to release endorphins and to feel better, but it doesn't cure depression or anxiety. Especially when you walk outside, you know, and you're just getting fresh air and you're smelling, you know, the fresh flowers or what's blooming at the time and all that. You do get some releases of endorphins that can be very helpful in your, just where you feel in from a mood perspective. But if you're having a lot of situational stressors and there's a lot of anxiety in your life right now, you got to treat yourself and get that mental health right. And you want to make sure you're seeking that support to work through those situational stressors. So walking, great. Is it a cure? No. Okay. So if you're having any of those issues, yes, I want you to walk, but I also want you to seek some help, and I want you to get some support there so that you can see that cure and that maintenance that looks good for you, you know? Myth, another myth, here we go. Running is superior to walking. Meh, not so much. And y'all already heard my tangent on this, but walking is low impact, but it can still support the release of endorphins. It can increase the blood flow to the brain and to the body, and it does improve bone health, and without all the strain to your joints and so forth, which is awesome. So this will sound crazy, but running is a skill, one that I don't possess, and some individuals just don't have a body that works good for running, okay? I'm going to tell you, and I already talked about this, but I'm getting back on my soapbox for a second. I despise running. Don't hate me. I just don't like it. I've never got that euphoric feeling. The only thing I've ever gotten from running is this horrible side cramp. And it's right up under your rib cage. And I never get past that point. I just don't like it. But if that's in your skill set and that's where you can clear your mind, you can release a lot of good endorphins, then go ahead and run by all means. But walking is not inferior to running. And I want you to have that as your takeaway, right? Here's another fact. You must walk faster to burn calories. Yes, and yes, okay? EMOM works, HIIT works with even walking. So what are those things? So EMOM, E-M-O-M, is every minute on the minute. And a lot of times what I'll tell patients is start somewhere, right? So EMOM is a great place to start. So let's say you walk 20 minutes. You warm up for 3 of those 20 minutes. I want you to take, let's say, 10 or 12 of those minutes, and every minute on the minute for 30 seconds, you're going to walk at such a fast pace like something's chasing you. I can't get a few words out. I mean, I'm hustling for 30 seconds. And then boom, 30 seconds, you're going to just go back to a normal brisk pace, but a normal pace. You get back to the minute, top of the minute, another 30 seconds. And you're going to keep doing that for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then after that, you can either decide to do a steady state for a few minutes, like maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and then do a cool down, or you can maybe change it up and do something else. But EMOM works, okay? HIIT works, and that's high intensity interval training. And that's like the incline on the treadmill that I was telling you about, where I can get on the treadmill and I can just do 15 minutes of work. And depending on the incline, depending on the speed, I can get that high intensity interval training in, and I can burn a buttload of calories in a very short period of time walking, which is low impact, and it's awesome. So yes, you can burn calories with walking. Yes, you can, but not just walking at a moderate, slower pace, casual pace at work. Oh, I walk at work all the time. I never sit down. I don't care. I don't care. I walk around at work all the time too. I do not count that as my calories for the day. I promise you, it's not burning anything. Okay. It's burning that battery on your iWatch. That's what it's doing. I'm on a roll today. I know. Myth, another myth. You shouldn't walk every day of the week. That's not good. Why not? It's low intensity, making it a perfectly reasonable thing that you can do daily. You know, if you're doing very high intensity or you're doing really high EMOMs, then of course, take a break here or there. But because of the low intensity on the joints, the amount of stress you're taking off the joints, this actually is really something you can do daily. You can change it up. You can change the scenes, the routes, all of that stuff. And you cannot get bored doing it if you can do some of those things. So absolutely can walk every day. That's an absolute myth. Kicked it right out of the park there. No, that doesn't make any sense. Another myth. You have to walk at least 30 minutes to see any health benefits. Judges, you need to get 200 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity a week in to lose weight, right? For weight loss. But it doesn't have to be in a 30-minute section of time, okay? I'd rather you do 10 minutes 3 times a day and do some high intensity and get it in 3 different times a day for 10 minutes. You're still getting 30 minutes in. Sometimes I've even told my patients, like, and they tell me like, oh, I sit in my office for 8 hours a day. I can't get up out of my chair. Okay, so I see that ball and chain hooked to your leg. But anyway, beside that point, every hour on the hour for a minute, I tell them to do work. Get up out of your desk, do some squats, push-ups against the wall, go up and down some stairs for a minute. I don't care what it is. Do 1 minute of work every hour on the hour. And if you're an 8-hour day, that's 8 minutes of work that day. If you're a 12-hour day, that's 12 minutes of work. In a week, you're looking at 40 to 60 minutes of work. Hello, that's game changer. And it can be if you can continue to do it, right? So smaller sections still get the job done. That's a myth, out the door. Myth, indoor and outdoor walking steps yield the same results. Wah, wah, wah. No, they don't, honey bunny. Not really, unless you have a treadmill like I do that allows you to have an increase in incline and speed, not so much. Of course, here in South Louisiana, walking when there's a morning temperature in July of 90 can definitely cause you to burn, baby, burn on more than one way. I'm just going to say that for the record. So, again, we go back to what we talked about earlier, like temperature, terrain, all that kind of stuff. So indoor, outdoor, I think you can burn similar results, but I do believe when you're on a terrain that goes up and down, outside, you're talking about the elements outside, I do believe that you can burn better outdoors unless you have a treadmill that can allow for the incline and the intensity change. The last one, here we go. This is fun. I'm having fun doing this. All right, fact. Silent walking is good for you. What? What is she talking about? So there's a TikTok phenomenon. I do not have a TikTok account. I don't follow TikTok. I guess I see some of their reels when I look at Instagram and Facebook. But this is basically walking with no iBuds in, no partner walking with you, no playlist playing. It's just you and your environment. It can give you a chance to be alone with your thoughts. Maybe have some moving prayer in the morning as you're walking, or meditation, whatever your jam is. It has the opportunity to decrease distress, to reduce your blood pressure. It can also promote positive thinking. It gives you time to just kind of compartmentalize your thoughts, right? But what this doesn't mean is that walking with activity is wrong for you. That's not what your takeaway needs to be. If listening to your favorite gospel music or your 80s rock, your favorite podcast, Hangry Games, excuse me, or walking with a friend motivates you to move it, then do it. So either silent walk or walk with the activity, I don't care. Just do it, okay? So remember, a few little pointers that I want to tell you just to kind of remember in this little journey of yours. You need to have a 3,200 calorie average week deficit of calories in a week, 3,200 calories, to lose 1 pound in a week, which means less coming in or more going out, or a combination of the two, okay? So when you talk about walking with wellness and you want more going out, okay, walking your dog is not the same as walking like someone's chasing you with a sharp instrument, okay? So remember this, because this is going to have a lot to do with what you're going to see with the results of your wellness and weight loss journey, right? It is always a great place to start. Here's my admission into my wellness and weight loss journey. I'm starting. I've got some physical activity going. That's my admission ticket to get in, not where you want to land. And always find something fun. If walking's fun for you, great. Stick with it. That's awesome. I like walking, but it cannot be my only thing. I love pickleball, which is a great way for me to burn calories and have fun, which is going to make me want to do it more. And that's really kind of where you want to be, right? You want to do something that's going to make you want to do it more. So this was fun. It was a little laid back, a little bit different, but we still packed a little punch in there, right? Make sure to head over to prepforit.com for some free resources and links to the What's Eating You book and workbook. Subscribe to the podcast channel so that you are the first to find out when a new episode drops and when you get some new episodes of the Hangry Game podcast. And by all means, have an amazing day and go walk off. Why don't you? Go walk it off. Go walk it off for a little bit. I'll see you later, okay? Ciao. Bye.